Okay, everybody, Nathan Ronen, CFA here with another update for you. And this is if you are a Level 2 candidate. I have a similar recording for Level 1 and Level 3, but this is for Level 2 candidates taking their exams regardless of whether it's May, August, or November of any particular year. And the question is, Nathan, I'm retaking the Level 2 exam. This is my second time or whatever, third time or even fourth time, and I'm frustrated. I've studied a lot of hours. I did a lot of mock exams. I did all of the Qbank questions. I did all of the end of chapter questions. I did all of the blue box, gray box questions that the CFA Institute has in their curriculum, and I just don't understand it. The real exam questions were so different. Can you shed some light? It's exactly what I want to do. If I would listen to this to the end, hopefully it will help you out in your study and that you'll decide to work with me. So please press the subscribe button and the notifications button now so that you can continue to receive these updates as I post them on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So what's the story, Nathan? You going to help me out here? Why am I constantly retaking Level 2? I've never had to retake exams. I was a straight A student in high school and in college. I was a salutatorian or a valedictorian, blah, blah, blah. Okay, wonderful. Doesn't really matter. You're taking the CFA Level 2 exam. Hint, I took it twice too. Bad study techniques, okay? That's a lot of times the issue, not the content. But to answer this question, if you're doing end of chapter questions, and you're doing the blue box questions and the gray box questions and the Qbank questions, and you're even going to the extent of buying additional questions in the form of Qbanks from third-party providers. I don't sell any of those, so that's not what I'm looking to do because I don't think they're very helpful. But if you are doing it, don't be surprised when the real exam questions on the CFA Level 2 exam are very different. First of all, CFA Institute is not giving away the exam for free. They're not going to give you the questions in their database. They're not going to give you the scenarios, the vignettes, or the multiple choice questions that follow those reading passages. You're not seeing it. Accept it, move on. Okay, so with that in mind, you should already know that no matter what you get from a prep provider, a third-party provider, from the CFA Institute's mock exams themselves, you shouldn't expect any of the scenarios to be exactly the same as what you see on the real exam. It ain't going to happen. It is not going to happen. Don't expect it to happen. Because if you ask two people to write a scenario, two people will write completely different scenarios. And that's something that you should keep in mind. Okay? So if you're asking me the question, why are prep provider item set questions not written in the same style as those on the actual exam? First of all, I just alluded to one of them, and that is that the questions that you're seeing in the end of chapter, Qbanks, the blue box, gray box questions, they are all written in a format that's more instructional in order to reinforce learning of the CFA curriculum content, rather than structuring them as true examples of the item sets that you're going to have on the real exam. Now, if that didn't sink in, rewind and listen again. That's the answer to your question. And when you understand that, you will study properly for this exam. Okay? You cannot expect CFA Institute to give you the questions to the exam, and you can't expect them to be written exactly the way they are on the real exam. Okay? Because it's different people creating the mock questions for you or the sample questions for you. Okay. The second thing that you need to keep in mind, and this is also very important, is the last time that CFA Institute actually released their Level 2 their Level 2 actual questions, their actual exams to the public is in 2005. The last one that was released is in 2004, I believe. That's over 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, over 20 years, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's a long time. Prep providers don't get a view of the database of questions. We don't. At least I don't. And I don't know any prep provider that does. So it's unrealistic to expect that our questions on our mock exams will simulate 100% the actual questions on the exam. Content-wise, yes. In terms of explaining things, yes. In terms of what we're asking, yes. But the actual questions themselves, you can't do that. There's only 88 questions on your Level 2 exam, right? It could be on anything. Okay. Now, do I know exactly, for example, or does any prep provider know exactly what questions you're going to have on the exam or what topics they're going to test? No. Every prep provider can have a dividend discount model question or a free cash flow model question on their mock exams because it's a big topic. It's a priority topic, but it doesn't mean that it's going to show up on your exam. It might not, or it might show up on the May exam, but not on the November exam. So you can't really expect to have direct access to the questions or to have questions that are going to be written in the exact same style, in the same way of asking questions as the real exam. You got to be a little bit more flexible than that. Now, I really make a hard effort in creating very challenging mock exams that are not impossible to do, meaning that, you need 10 minutes to do a 3-minute question. No way. But my questions are really designed to integrate the concepts in the CFA program across multiple readings, multiple topics, and multiple learning outcome statements. That is what the real exam does. It's a much more holistic approach to the program rather than creating item sets or vignettes and then having them followed by 4 questions that are relatively linear and they're very unidimensional, and that you can answer them if you've either read the curriculum or the prep notes or you just read the actual case. So mine actually integrate knowledge from multiple areas of the program, which is very challenging to do, but that's exactly what your exam does. So you shouldn't be surprised on my exams or even on the real exam when they integrate forwards or futures contracts from the derivatives material with currency exchange rates, which is in the economics material. Okay, and I'll make sure that you know whether you're buying or selling, whether it's a forward or a futures contract that you're doing, whether it's going to be $10,000 worth or $12,000, the principal. And then I'm also going to make sure that you know whether you're buying or selling on the yen or the euro, whichever exchange rates they give you. That's important. And so it's going to integrate concepts. And I'll do the same thing with corporate issuers and equity and fixed income and quant. And you will be very surprised at the difference of the types of questions that I ask and I do in my videos and on my mock exams compared to what you're going to see from other resources. And you'll see a more direct relationship between what you actually experience on exam day. That's how I prep people for their exams. That's the way you should be prepared for your exam. And you shouldn't be expecting linear, in the basket, just, hey, I read the book, let me answer the question type item sets. Those are not really good quality in terms of similarity to what you're going to experience on exam day. And that's why a lot of times mock exam questions, along with end of chapter questions, blue box, gray box questions, Qbank questions, bear a little similarity to the actual questions that you see on the exam. Now, CFA is working on trying to fix this a little bit, but I would never expect you to get the questions in advance, the actual questions in advance, and just change the numbers and the names and answer the same question. That's not a certification. That's not a charter. And if CFA Institute ever does that, or anybody ever does that, that's the end of the program, because you should be challenged on the exam and you should know what the questions are in advance. That's my personal opinion. But you should be well prepared, and that's what I'm going to do. So check me out at chalkandboard.org. That's CHALK and AND, board, BOARD. That's chalk and board, BOARD, chalkandboard.org. And let me help you get through your level 2 exam and into level 3. And let's get the charter. Let's stop playing around and let me do what I got to do, and I will get you there. Talk to you later and hope to see you. Check out my website, give me a buzz or text me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Good luck to you on the level 2 exam.